Howdy. So this is for the buyer of the Ungoni on eBay. This is a private video just for you. I just wanted to show you a couple of things. I figured it would be easier to just tape this for you instead of trying to explain it in writing. So I've taken all the tension out of the strings here, so they're all quite loose, as you can see. There is this one string that I want you to be wary of. It's this one, and it goes right up to the edge of the neck. So something to be noted about this instrument. Do you see how the bridge falls forward? When the tension from the instrument is pulling against the bridge, it had a tendency originally to pull the bridge upward to let it set like this. This loop string, it's attached to the rebar system, so I'll just go ahead and get a better shot of it here for you. It'll be sticking up like this. It's pretty distinct. It's attached to this rebar system. So once you get the, sorry, I'm trying to do this and hold the camera at the same time. Once you get the bridge set up, before you start putting the strings in, put this little guy over the top, this little loop over the notch. And you don't need to adjust the length on it. Don't touch the way that it's tied at all. It's secure, but I've fashioned it at the proper length so that if I apply pressure, it's not going to go any farther. Then see how it stands straight up, 90 degrees with the neck. It's been tied at that certain length, so don't tamper with the length at all. And when you tighten it, it'll just hold it solid, so the bridge shouldn't slide around or anything. Additionally, because the bridge has been pressed against the goat skin, there's an indentation. So when you get the instrument, just set it in the indentation in the skin where it already is, and get started. This will be a little bit of an assembly tutorial video, simply because it's something that I had to deal with when I first got the instrument over here from Australia. So this bridge, let me take this off. I'm going to take this whole bridge out, and so the bridge won't be there. Now there's something to note. There's an easy way to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this for a second, and I'm going to take the bridge out, and I'm going to show you how to insert it. So here we are, and the bridge has been removed. And you can see the indentation I'm talking about, and I have the bridge just here. Now you see, you look up the column, and the strings look kind of shuffled, but there's a way to do this. As you get closer to the bottom, see how these split apart? You can take your finger and just plant it in between and spread the strings. Make sure that everything that's on the right side here lines up with the right pegs here, and everything that's on the left side here lines up with the left pegs there. It's very important, because once you get the bridge in there, if you start aligning strings strangely, you'll end up crossing and it'll be a headache. So let's just say, for example, we've got all these, let's just mix it up. So let's just say you get it in shipment, and for whatever reason it's just like this, right? So just take your finger and just go to the top where this bottom hole is, nudge that aside to the right and everything else to the left, and begin to separate it down like this. And as you get closer to the bottom, just spread it apart. You'll get to this little indentation, your fingers will be able to sit right in there and just spread them apart like this. Alright, once you're at that point and you have them spread, take the bridge and take one side of the foot. You don't want to try jamming it underneath like this. You split it like this, slide it underneath, and then let me see if I can do this with one hand. Here we are. So you see everything there is underneath the foot. And I'm going to pause it again and just slide the other one underneath, but you get the general idea. Be careful with this, because it is, like I mentioned when I wrote to you, it is organic material. This is skin. And so you want to be careful with it. It's not a cello face. So just be gentle as you're doing this, and I'll wedge it in there, and I'll show you how to get going from there. So here we are again. As you can see, the strings, I'll pull this little loop out of the way. As you can see, the strings have been divided, so everything that's on the right is on the right, and everything that's on the left is on the left. Now, before I get started with tensioning, I'm going to take this little loop, and I'm just going to pull this right over the top. And it doesn't matter if it has slack in it. Don't worry about the tightness of it just yet. So once you have all this, If you need to loosen the strings further to do this, feel free to do so. Get as much tension out of them as you feel that you need to. Like I said, it's organic material, so you want to be gentle. And we start with the top. You can start with the topmost, you can start with the bottommost. I found it, how do I say, easier to start with the topmost, so to go from the top down, because as you're going from the bottom up, you have all these strings to shuffle here, and you're trying to set it up, and you're trying to, and they pile up. So start from the top, get it set. So here, run your finger all the way to the top, and you see, okay, so we're on the right side, for example, and you see that last peg right here. You can grab the string that goes into that hole. Sorry, again, I'm doing it with one hand. You can grab the string that goes into that hole. So you see it goes into that hole there. Run it down. And something to note about this ungoni, it has slats. It has 12 cuts on the side. But the bridge wasn't, I don't think the bridge was calibrated correctly. Either that or the skin just sank in quite a bit when it was made. This is the way I got it, by the way. This top string does not actually go, it doesn't go, here, let me focus, there we go, nope, out of focus, nope, even more out of focus, there we go, in focus, let me see if I can line up this. So this top slat, the top string doesn't actually go in the top slat, the top string sits right on top of the bridge. You see the little notch right there, maybe very small, but it's for the rope, and the notches are on both sides, you see that? So there's another one just here. So these two notches here, those are for the top string. So note this, the top string, this one doesn't actually go in this slat here. It sits on top, right here. And you can see how it lines up. So, and don't worry, it doesn't shift. Once there's tension in it, it sits in the notch pretty well. It doesn't shift at all, even though now you can see there's barely any tension and it plays a note. And it's the pressure's pretty good. Now as you get this off, there we go. As you apply more pressure, this bridge is going to pull up. At which point this thing is going to catch it and it's going to lock. And then, like I said, I tied it at the length so it'll lock it. I'm not going to say exactly mathematically, but I mean it's pretty close to locking at 90 degrees as far as the human eye is able to tell. It shouldn't shift at all. This rebar where there's no tension in it, I don't know if it'll come off, but don't tinker with it, don't play with it, just leave it where it is. I'm going to take the bridge off, and it'll most likely be wrapped. It'll be wrapped and padded separately, and it'll be attached to the face of the instrument, or externally, or I might wrap the instrument lightly and then attach this inside, and then heavy wrap it over the top just to keep the whole package together. Either way, it should reach you safely. I'll get as much tension as I safely can out of these strings, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Let's see if I can get a shot of this. No rattling, as you can see. And yeah, like I said, any questions, just let me know.